Welcome to episode 5 of Future Media, a podcast where I share the lessons I have learned over 30 years at the top of the media and tech industries, with a few real-life stories and radical new ideas thrown in to spice things up. My name is Ricky Sutton, and I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe to my Substack channel or to my podcasts on Spotify. Today, I am retelling the fascinating true story of how a half-blind genius on an anti-aircraft gun set the foundations for AI, and how his vision lays a path for a news media and big tech collaboration 78 years later. I hope you enjoy it. Let's do this. Flashback. It's 7:34 a.m. on November 23rd, 2018, and I'm listening to my mate Mark's podcast, The Next Billion Seconds. He's discussing 1968, the year that artificial intelligence entered the human psyche. Stanley Kubrick's HAL 9000 was the star of 2001: A Space Odyssey, and the world is entranced by the notion. But the foundations had been laid decades earlier by little-remembered mathematics guru Norbert Wiener. You've probably never heard of him, but Bing's AI tells me.
And Norbert Wiener was an American mathematician and philosopher who established the science of cybernetics, which studies the control and communication in animals and machines. He was a child prodigy who graduated in mathematics at the age of 14 and completed a PhD at Harvard at 19. He became a professor of mathematics at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and made important contributions to various fields of mathematics. He is considered one of the pioneers of artificial intelligence, as he was the first to theorize that intelligent behavior is the result of feedback mechanisms that could be simulated by machines.
Amazing. And in a fantastic irony, his astonishing vision was the result of poor eyesight. He wanted to join the Air Force in World War II, but his short-sightedness led to him being grounded. Undeterred, he followed his love of planes into the army, manning an anti-aircraft gun in the Battle of Britain. When his blurry vision stopped him effectively hitting his targets, he began to think. If he could know the path of the plane, its speed, how far away it was, the velocity of his shell, the pace of his reactions, the wind speed and shear, then he would know how to never miss. He wrote an equation that merged people with data and nature that technicians now call information theory. Bing takes up the story.
While working in the military, Wiener and his colleague Julian Bigelow analyzed anti-aircraft defenses, which were very inefficient at the time. They considered the observer, the gun, the airplane, and the pilot as an integrated probabilistic system, and developed a mathematical model of how to improve the accuracy of the gun by using feedback from the observer. This was one of the first applications of cybernetics to a real-world problem.
Today, the world remembers Turing or Berners-Lee more, but it was Wiener's equations that provided the groundwork for the AI revolution that Microsoft and Google are exploiting now. Wiener's story birthed a fascination in me about the concept that machines can make humans superhuman, and that humans can teach machines to make superhumans better still, and on it goes. The process, that man's behavior fed into a machine will improve the machine's output, is the very definition of machine learning, and from there is the path to AI. Uvu began the deployment of our own AI called Compass in 2018. We used an algorithm to turn words and videos into a common language that machines could understand, to create probabilistic recommendations for relevance. The aim was to use people and machines in cybernetic harmony to put a relevant video in every article, with the outcome of telling trusted news to 1 billion people. Our vision was for AI before it was trendy. What I adore about what we did was the synchronicity of compute and consumer, how we used the machines for what they were good for, then optimized them with uniquely human traits. We used a common technology called natural language processing, or NLP, to analyze text, to identify what it was about by extracting, evaluating, and putting values to keywords and topics based on the trending news agendas of the moment. Biden might equal 50 on Tuesday, but 976 on Thursday, when the news agenda had changed. Global warming might be 26, but 2,696 during COP26. That event might have a value of 3,987 when it was on, but then fell to 47 as attention waned, and so on across hundreds of millions of articles. By having machines analyze the human output of articles and videos and assign them reactive values, we were able to create a contextuality index. Over the years, Uvu partnered with publishers and leading publishing platforms including WordPress, Naviga, Blocks Digital and more to be able to see what was being written in real time. And we partnered with hundreds of broadcasters to create an enormous, constantly updating premium news video catalogue, ingesting almost 2,000 ready-to-publish videos per day. The publishing platforms gave us line of sight to half of the news published on the entire web, while our video partnerships gave us the lion's share of the premium news video. It meant Uvu's Compass AI, with sufficient compute power, could match video to 150 billion pages of news content monthly. This was clearly good business, but it was the cybernetic synchronicity of using people and machines to optimize each other to serve billions of news consumers that continues to thrill me to this day. A human at a publisher, for example, News Corp, writes an article, tick. A human at a broadcaster, for example, CNN, makes a video, tick. Compass codifies them into a machine language, tick. The Compass AI makes a recommendation to a journalist, tick. A human journalist agrees and embeds the video, tick. Or chooses another better video based on their judgment, tick. Compass captures which recommendations worked well and which were overruled, tick. And Compass resets its data in response to human feedback, and it learned. Tick. The outcome is human creation, machine curation, human validation, machine optimization. Just beautiful. At the time, Uvu was speaking at global AI events and earning plaudits and awards. We learned firsthand how it felt to be swept up in an AI frenzy. What I knew then, and now, is that Compass had a superpower that others did not, and still lack today. Our global publisher network was an army of deep subject matter experts whose daily work reporting the news was the perfect training model for a specialist news media AI. And it's becoming clear that big tech is having a problem getting their AIs to understand what we as humans create and consume intuitively. That creates huge value for Uvu and the broader news media industry. But here's something interesting. The idea of having people teach Compass drew opposition from some of our engineers at the time. They argued that if they coded Compass to do something, then it should do exactly that. And if Compass failed to do what customers wanted it to, then that was a failure of the product team who must have inadequately scoped it. That led to a spirited debate. I argued that when you raise a child and tell them not to touch something hot, you know that one day they will, and they will hopefully learn not to do it again. But that's not the end of the story. The same child may grow up to be a glassblower. In that case, they'll be attracted to working with things that are hot. That's the point of nurture. And that's okay, because humanity will and must make choices based on informed decisions. If we had dogmatically coded children to never go near anything hot, I argued, we would never have discovered fire, humanity's first technological breakthrough. That is why we must have humans in the feedback loop to teach the tech, to guide the code and improve it through exposure to human experience. The engineers then argued that the benefit of coding Compass to learn would be so subtle that it would not meaningfully improve content recommendations. I argued that missed a point, which was that adding a semblance of humanity to Compass made it more attractive to the humans who use it. That was why we chose a green tick icon to signify which videos had been embedded, green to reflect nature, and a tick to signify human affirmation. These were both things that machines would not engineer as they lacked human empathy. I heard Wiener's voice in my head as we had these debates. There is space for logic and code, but also room for art and love. Machines are efficient, humans are empathetic. The two collaborating is the cybernetic vision that Wiener inspired in me. I believe this is also a model for a mutually beneficial and sustainable future for news media and big tech. I'll leave it to Norbert Wiener, a human, to explain and to have his explanation delivered by Bing, an AI. That feels appropriate. In his book, The Human Use of Human Beings, Wiener argued that AI should be used to enhance human capabilities and well-being, not to exploit or harm them. He also warned about the dangers of totalitarianism and the loss of human autonomy in a world dominated by machines. Some of his ideas are still relevant today as we face the challenges of AI alignment and ethics. Wiener said,
"The human species is strong only insofar as it takes advantage of the innate, adaptive, learning faculties that its physiological structure makes possible. These faculties are also capable of an extension that can be realized through the use of machines. It is the thesis of this book that man can, if he so desires, make use of these machines to assist and to train his own introspective and deliberative processes."
Wow. Wiener had a dynamic and holistic view of human nature, and he valued human creativity and learning above all. He also recognized that AI had the power to threaten or enhance these aspects of humanity, depending on how it was designed and used. I created Future Media to test whether a cybernetic approach could improve journalism, and to explore how AI and automation can be best used to deliver better human experiences. As the world dives headlong into an AI future, Wiener's words feel more relevant than ever, and so is sensible thinking about how machines and the tech companies that build them, and humans and the information that feeds them, integrate. This relationship has been biased towards big tech for the past 20 years. Now is that time to rebalance. I believe this can be done by appreciating four very human truths. Tech companies need news because it trains their AIs and keeps the results relevant. ChatGPT relies on news for half of its results. I know this because journalists at the Washington Post reported it, and I know about this because ChatGPT told me. That's opportunity number one. The consumption of news, video and audio are rising because 5 billion people demand it. The media boom only feels like a bust because the business model is broken. It's a classic market failure. Solving it is opportunity number two. Big tech companies have the cash and need the content. Media companies have the content and want the cash. Cracking that supply and demand goldmine is opportunity three. And bickering and court cases are only slowing humanity's path to the future, and regulators are becoming heavier-handed. A sustainable coexistence for tech and media is now a better business model than the status quo. And that's opportunity four. This creates real-world business opportunities that can sustain and grow the value of both big tech and news media, and help humanity at the same time. The first business opportunity is for big tech and news media to quickly reach an alignment that money is exchanged when AIs reference news content. This should be on a per-use basis. Every time an AI uses news media as a source to deliver a relevant response, that spawns a micropayment. The outcome is that tech and news media grow together for the first time in a sustainable model. Next, news media supports the AI future by working with big tech to ensure that their articles and outputs are in the right format for AIs to learn from. This is what I have called AI optimization, or AIO. That would be a powerful gesture of goodwill and partnership. Next, big tech start to use their billions to buy news media companies. Whatever they might say in public, they do need it. Disney spent $8 billion on Marvel, Star Wars, and National Geographic to boost Disney+. That's small beer. Winning the AI race is worth trillions. Viewed through that lens, it's simple to justify spending a few billion on strategic news assets. And big tech and media must stick to their relative skill sets to avoid stepping on toes with the goal of winning together. That requires them to stay in their swim lanes, Google in tech, news media in content. And the pioneering partnership between Microsoft and Australia's broadcaster Nine is the perfect model for this. That's a story I tell in another podcast episode. This is my personal interpretation of Wiener's future vision. Humans create, machines curate, journalists authenticate, and billions of people benefit. I hope Norbert would be proud. This has been the Future Media Podcast. Thanks for listening. My name is Ricky Sutton. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe on Substack and Spotify, and get your friends to as well. I hope to see you and them next time. Thank you, and bye for now.